What? Oh, okay. That did a weird thing.
Run steep, get high. Run flat, stay low. Run the mountain, run the road. Run past the 8-stand to the commode. Oh, run steep, get high. Run flat, stay low. One stream, two guys. Mountain Outpost. Now here's your host.
Hey, did I just totally screw up the timing on that one? Did it just go to zero? Or who knows what happened? Welcome back. This is Mountain Outpost Pod, episode 21. Welcome. I'm your co-host, Jamel Curry, here today with Skizzle Fresh Skylar Hall. Half the times I introduce you, half the times I just pause and awkwardly you have to introduce yourself. So we're coming at you today with another episode. We've got a lot to talk about in this one. To me, it felt like this was the first normal weekend of race results, seemingly on a global level. Like there was just so much going on. It seemed pretty normal. I don't know. What was your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very busy weekend. A lot happened, both in the mountain ultra trail scene, on the track scene. Saw some road races pop off. But we have to temper all of these expectations because we still have races that are either still being canceled or being moved from locations to alternate locations. And so in some respects, it felt very normal. In other respects, it's like this summer could still be kind of mayhem depending on where in the world you happen to be, including potentially at the Olympics. So who knows? Just keep rolling with the punches.
So true, and we're definitely gonna get into, I think, a lot of what happened this weekend, different races, records, golden ticket type stuff. But yeah, that is super interesting because on one hand, we had Canyons 100K, which I should really pull up there was a video of the start. Do you remember who posted that? Would that have been, who was out there covering?
You had one of three options, basically. You had Ultra Runner Podcast live on the scene in his backyard. You had Mutt Running, which is Sage Canada's sort of new outfit to cover the Mountain Ultra Trail scene. So get off our lawn. And then you had Treeline Journal was sort of like cribbing things. I don't think they were actually on site, but who knows? It's a short trek from Oregon. So those are your three best bets to find it. Honestly, that was the first thing I saw. I was driving to go meet up with Nasty Nate. He's wanted to do a run up and down Diablo. And I was like, sure, because nothing says let's have a fun Saturday morning like running up and down the mountain. And I was like waiting for my coffee. And that was the first video that popped up on Instagram. And it just blew my mind to watch a mass start. Like, I just wasn't ready for it. Like, I just... It wasn't there.
Yeah. I know, I kind of want to talk about that, because I was like, wasn't sure about that. It was interesting. I don't know if they got... Anyways. It's a juxtaposition of... And I really want to find the video, because I want to show at least our audience on YouTube what I'm talking about. I'm going to find it. But essentially, we have a golden ticket race, Canyons 100K going off in Auburn, California, starting. And then, I think the same day or day before, we hear that the San Diego 100 is canceled due to COVID, due to restrictions. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this was from Mutt Running, and there you go.
which pre-pandemic would have been completely normal, but it's
but like
something
the
we have
first
not
race,
seen.
the first big race back in California, like mass start out of a 10-foot wide archway. I mean, JFK did it, I know. So I mean, I haven't heard much backlash. I don't know if I'm really trying to give backlash. I'm just kind of like, the question marks are popping up over my head. Like, is this really the approved protocol? Because like, I don't know of many races doing this yet. I don't know if it's time to be doing this yet. Just throwing it out there in the world that it's just interesting. One hand, we've got San Diego 100 being canceled due to COVID, and then we've got this. So I don't know if we're ready for this. I'm not ready at my races. Cocodona, we're not doing this. But anyways, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like it was just the jarring nature of having not seen it happen in quite some time. And there are going to be people who, like we've talked about this before, there are going to be people who are just like not comfortable re-socializing into the world as restrictions get lifted and people are, getting vaccinated and the like. And so I think, there's definitely, I would be surprised if every single person on that start line was super comfortable and just like ready to rock and was like, yep, mass start, let's do it. Obviously, folks could have worn their masks, and I definitely saw some people who are still had it up, which, I mean, again, totally fine. It's what you should be doing. It's cool. But it's just the like psychosocial part of re-entering a post-pandemic world that, we have to continue to be mindful of. Maybe I'm just super sensitive to that specific issue because we just had, we just wrapped up our high school track season for our league, and those kids aren't in school yet. And so this was their first time to interact with their own teammates, let alone folks from other schools, other cities. And so as we were like meet directing, it was a lot of us thinking, okay, like at what point should we say it's okay to drop your mask? How do we make sure that folks feel comfortable if they want to run in their mask or their buff or what have you? Like just trying to allay all fears and allow folks to just like feel and do their experience. We may have to have that same sort of conversation as we re-enter these larger races. Obviously, you sign up for a race, like, if you know that going in ahead of time, that's one thing. But yeah, for me, I was just like, oh damn, like I just was not ready.
Totally, and I think part of it is we've been so conditioned now for this, and as things continue to ease, I guess it's going to be an interesting path. But yeah, I was like, I don't know, I wasn't ready for it either. Maybe a little shocking. Anyways. It is what it is.
But the rest of the race was awesome. So, yeah.
Totally. So anyways, that was like a nice way to start off. I'm sure we're getting people blowing up the chat room on both sides of this one, but good way to kick things off. So why not?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we're definitely going to delve into the other, 99.9K of canyons. Also have to talk about some run flat stuff that happened this past week. And then the week ahead is going to be very entertaining. A lot of things to preview and a lot of things that you can watch for free from the comfort of your own home. So going to be a very entertaining weekend, a lot to catch up on, a lot to get you guys up to speed on, and a lot to just figure out how the hell we're going to do this podcast next week. I think we also need to figure that out because we'll be on course. Or at least you will definitely be on course, and me, I'll hopefully be sitting nicely in a hotel room by that point. But
Tuesday night, should you be with me?
Hey man, I'm trying to.
Maybe we're done. Maybe we're done early. Okay, I could see it. All right.
I'm just saying, you just move well early, and then by the time I check out, I'm like, oh, it's like 6 p.m. I can go get dinner, and then.
Solo pod, or like you're in your hotel and I'm on the trail. I see where you're going with this. Nice.
Yeah. What can I say? What can I say?
All right. I gotta remember. I had totally forgotten.
In my scene. So.
Cool. What do you want to start with this week, besides what we already started with?
I think we just kind of got to figure out where we're at, because this time next week you will be on course. I will be somewhere in the greater Arizona apparatus. Hopefully we both will have functional legs, and one of us has definitely lost a bet at this point. So How are you
That's
doing,
true.
sir? Let's just talk about that. How are you doing with 6 days to go, 5.5 days to go until the start of Cocodona?
It's getting real around the office here. I think we had like 10 phone gimbals arrive today. Earlier there were 4 box trucks like right in our parking lot, and there's an ice trailer here. There's pallets of water. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff going on. Everything is set into motion already. So I think there's supply drops being made today of like water being distributed across the course. So it's, full on Cocodona it's like being set in motion as we speak, which is really exciting. It's all becoming real. So the course is now finalized. The race briefing is out there. There's a Treeline Journal preview article, so that's exciting. I made a quick trip up to California this weekend, and so I ran a half marathon near Folsom, and feel good from that. Definitely got some quicker miles in than I normally have been running lately. It was a little bit beat up, but feeling good now, and I should probably get a couple jogs in this week, but mostly gonna take it easy. At this point, it doesn't really matter. We're just gonna try and get the gear list finalized for my own personal stuff as well, and maybe a little plan out to the pacing team. So that's about it. How you doing?
Sweet. I'm good. Holding it together. Had a bit of a rough weekend. Nasty Nate and originally we're going to do 6 peaks of Diablo. Things were going a little bit squirrely, so we knocked out 4 of them. But it was 16 miles and 5,500 feet of climbing or something like that. And we kept joking about, I got to be getting ready for Cocodona. So there was one descent. Mind you, I've done no part of the peaks that we actually did at no part of our route. So I was just like, yeah, cool, whatever. There was one descent, and they're like, okay, yeah, just like go bomb it, get your downhill legs ready, because we talked about I got to be ready to run some downhills. It was 1.2 miles long, very sketchy in some, in terms of footing in some sections, and it also lost 1,000 feet. So I just ruined my quads in the dead middle of that run, and then we're like, well, now I got to go climb another 3,000 feet. So I'm still recovering from that, but things are coming back together. I'm currently in the middle of a juice cleanse because I got wild on Sunday with I just ordered too much dairy. It's just lactose intolerant people. You gotta wear a shirt sometimes that saves you from yourself if you're dealing with service members. So yeah. Otherwise, I'm good, man. Just getting ready for this quick little vacation, and then popping out to see you and working on my tan in the high deserts of Arizona.
Sweet. Well, it's cloudy, and I think it was snowing in Flagstaff this morning, but that's all gonna clear up by next week. It's supposed to be pretty warm out.
What are we looking at? I vaguely pulled up the Sedona weather report, like must have been late last week, just to get an approximation of what it was looking like, and it was like in the mid 80s. So what are we looking at for next week?
Well, let's get into it here. Well, so like 70 today, partly cloudy, just a little bit of rain. And by next Tuesday, 80. 80 is a high on Tuesday. And then for the folks that are going through there on Wednesday, it'll be mid 80s. So it's going to be warm for sure. On the warmer end of things, just full sun, it looks like. So it's going to be a year to carry a lot of water capacity. I think the warmest might be Cottonwood, besides the first climb. It's a little bit lower than Sedona. It's before you get up there. Let's see that 10-day. 90 on Wednesday. 90 on Wednesday, 92 Thursday. So it's going to be a hot one out there.
Yeah, this is going to be brutal. You send the heaviest sweater out to go pace you for that section, so thanks.
It's an interesting time of year though, because as we saw, I mean, if the race was this week, we'd be getting snowed going over Eldon right now. So you just never know. It's all part of it.
It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I got through like 15 minutes of the race briefing video. I don't know why I'm watching it. I'm not racing the damn thing, but I was just like, let me just figure out what's going on. No, it's gonna be a good time. Gonna definitely enjoy some scenic areas that I've never even hung out in, let alone run through. And gonna enjoy spending some time with you, buddy. So
it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna do the whole loop through Sedona together, at minimum.
That's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan. There is a world where if I just show up just a little bit late, I cut out like 2,500 feet of climbing for me though. So maybe that flight gets delayed. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Come on, we're gonna get you through it. I'm just hoping I'm gonna be moving well for you. We had some slow miles at Tahoe.
We did. We also just had some generally dark patches at Tahoe.
Yeah.
Looking at you, 4-mile road climb, but
yeah,
it's all right. We'll get through it. I like our odds. In worst case scenario, we're gonna see a lot of friends out there, and it's gonna be a good time.
I hope so. That's the dream.
What's the worst that could happen? Well, I guess we'll find out when we do the Cocodona preview here in a little bit, officially.
Yep.
But first off, should we recap the weekend that was on the run steep side or the run flat side first?
What do you want? You ready to jump in?
I can go.
Yeah, you can go.
All right.
I'll crack my non-alcoholic beer.
Because you're preparing your body. I appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in fairness, there's so much. This is green. This is not a color that normally occurs in my environment, so I can't really fault you for anything right now. All right, cool. Run flat news. Crazy weekend that was. I'm gonna just try to go over some high points because there were so many races across the board, and so much generic news that that could be an entire 40-minute segment in and of itself. So let's start on the pro side. Steph Bruce, while we're talking about things that happen in Flagstaff, she actually rolls out Flagstaff, the NAZ Elite athlete, wins the Valley Half Marathon in 69:55. It's a new personal best for her, which is exactly where you want to be with 2 months until the Olympic trials, because she's going to be toeing the line trying to take down a 10K and make that team. So shout out to her. Grayson Murphy, who is the reigning world champion mountain runner, back on the track. She was on the road technically on Wednesday for the USATF 1 mile championship, and then came back Saturday to run a steeple race. So interesting to see just the sheer versatility that she's bringing to the table. And since she technically is a mountain ultra trail runner, we got to shout her out. You had Isaac Updike at the Oregon Relays just throw the entire men's steeple into mayhem. He wins over Mason Furlick in 8:17, so gets that Olympic trial standard. We're going to see him on the line. There's only 3 or 4 American men who have the Olympic standard total. And so if you can get the Olympic standard at any point in the next 2 months, you're pretty much guaranteed to go, because it's gonna be mayhem. So that's gonna come up very importantly later in this episode. So we also had on the sprint side, Bromell ran 10:01 at Oregon Relays, shot out like a cannon. If you see the video of this thing, he won in the first 3 steps. It was insane. If you were a sprint coach, you were just textbook dry phase, beautiful thing, work of art. So cool for him. And then you had on the college side, you had at the Oregon Relays, Sage Huerta from Colorado hops in the pro race, runs a 4:08, so just short of the Olympic trials qualifier. But she's the new NCAA leader by 3 seconds. So shout out to her. Laura Meir just went wire to wire on the front of that race, wins in 4:01 by 2 seconds or something. But she at one point had a 50-meter lead or something insane. It was which you don't see in 1,500-meter races. So cool for her. Sage also beat Jenny Simpson, so you can take if you're one of those people who crosses names off your list, that's the move. So shout out to her for that. Charlie Hunter, another college kid, hopped in the pro race at Oregon Relays, ran 147 for third place. The two people who beat him are past NCAA champions at that distance. So I don't know if that bodes well for him as we approach NCAA season, but like if you're only going to get nipped by two previous champions, that's a good company to be in. So he's turning into perfect form as we approach the championship season. Other crazy things though, in the distance world, it was a wild 5 hours on Friday night for American teenagers. So you had Nico Young at the Drake Relays out in Iowa, takes third overall with a new American junior record of 13:24. His teammate takes fifth, so it's 2 spots behind him, runs like 13:27. So NAU finally on the board with some 5Ks. We still haven't seen Luis Grijalva, but clearly NAU is coming into form. So we're like, all right, cool, great night for American distance running. Timeout. Let's go to the West Coast, Oregon Relays. You have Cole Hocker versus Cooper Tier versus Edwin Kurgat versus Wesley Kiptoo. So the 2 Iowa State guys, the 2 Oregon guys, and they just like take off like it's a cross country race. 4 off the front, just like cycling through. Cole Hocker kicks down Cooper Tier in the finish. All 4 of them finished within a second and a half of each other. 13:19 for Cole Hocker for the win. All 4 of them under 13:21. All 4 of them the 4 fastest times in the NCAA this year. And you're looking at 2 freshmen, because Cole Hocker's also 19, a redshirt freshman. Two teenagers just blitzed the top 5 into the top 5 times in the NCAAs this year, basically. So it's gonna be insane. The top 11 times in the NCAA this year in the 5K are all in the West. So we keep talking about the East versus West battle when it comes to qualifying, and then they merge together for nationals. It's going to be way more difficult to come out of the West, because when you're looking at 13:30 is basically what you need to run to get to nationals, not even what you need to run at nationals for the win. Like, come on, that's nutty. That wasn't it, though. There's also some cool stuff in the sprints. Noah Williams of LSU beat Bryce Dedman of Texas A&M. He ran 44.30 to get the world lead in the 400, which is what you want to see from your college students. Tamara Clark ran 10.96, so the first female to drop under 11 in the 100 meters in the NCAA. And then Kimba Nelson ran in 11.08 at the Oregon Relays. So we saw the 3 fastest times in the 100 on the women's side run this past weekend. So things are coming into form. The bubbles are all over the place. So I'll get you up to speed in a couple of weeks when it comes to what you're looking for from these college athletes as they enter conference championships, but just know that it's damn fast these days. And then the last thing I got to talk about in the Run Flat news, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you. We've talked a lot about Tinman Elite, like you've seen the YouTube. So the Tinman Elite dropped Tinman, the coach, gave him a boot. Gone. So yes, that story broke on Friday morning. Tom Schwartz, affectionately known as Tinman, because that's apparently the nickname he's had for decades, is no longer the coach of the Tinman Elite. But that coaching changes happen all the time. Not usually 2 months before an Olympic trials, but you got to do what you got to do. He'd been with Drew Hunter since Drew was in high school. And if you follow Tom Schwartz on Instagram, you see his whole roster of like high school athletes that he coaches and is hyping up on IG all the time. So I guess meet your audience where they are. But we hear this story, the news breaks, and then Drew Hunter's mom is the person who releases the media statement, which, I mean, if your mom's your agent, that's cool, but not exactly where we expected the first thing to come from. Maybe somebody from the team, somebody from Adidas, like anywhere else. So then Tom Schwartz's wife starts clapping back in the Let's Run forums. That's right. Not in the news. No. Let me just start posting on the Let's Run message boards, and just basically becomes like a live Q&A where like somebody will like follow up or like, I guess, post things. And then like, she'll be like, well, actually, point of clarification, like, these are the facts. Like, Tom did all this. We moved our family from Idaho to Colorado. It's nuts. So this is the one time I will tell you that you should go read the Let's Run message boards, but you just literally see it's wild. And then the Tinman Elite team didn't even come out with an official statement until Sunday night. So they let this whole thing fester for 2 days. A couple of them ended up racing at Drake Relays. Not very well, I would imagine, I don't have to imagine. They didn't race well based on the times, but then also this was probably weighing on their mind. And then now we're still in this back and forth. Is Tinman going to be like, hey, give me my name back? What's Adidas going to do? There's complaints about the professionalism of the team and how they got rid of him because they said it was kind of just like, we did a team vote and then we called him. Like, I don't know, it's a whole thing. So there's much more to be told about this story. But if you like messy drama and you've been yearning for that in the running world, then the Tinman v. Tinman Elite battle is for you. So that's Run Flat News in a nutshell. Yeah.
There it is. There it is right here. Currently 48 pages long. It's like 900 messages, I think.
Which is also, all right, so here's what's crazy.
The first comment, this will be a very popular, oh, never mind. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, on Let's Run, you can just like anonymously post anytime, or you can be a registered user. Tom Schwartz's wife is a registered user. So she's like been on the Let's Run hypebeast for a while. So you're like, interesting.
But that way we know it's her.
But apparently, yeah.
Apparently, okay.
I mean,
very interesting.
I will trust the news folks at Let's Run to have done a bit of vetting
to vet it, yeah.
To make sure that was the case before.
Have they always had the registered, or is that a new thing?
They've pretty much always had it. Yeah, because like Sage, his username is registered, and he's been living on the Let's Run message board since college, probably. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be just enjoyable.
Maybe they'll have a vlog about it, huh?
I have no idea how they're gonna talk. They did post today that they're like back on the grind and like they were there running uphill or doing like hill sprints and whatnot. And like for most of the recent videos, we've only seen Corey Leslie, the former, I believe ASU, he might have been a U of A, athlete. I think he was ASU. So we haven't seen Tom Schwartz in any videos probably in at least 6 or 7 months, which might have been part of the issue that the team brought up in terms of him making time for them. But yeah, there's gonna be a rich documentary made of this, I'm sure. So,
all right, love me some drama. So good stuff.
This is finally our Vanderpump Rules. Yes. Woo! Okay.
All right, let's run. Let's get on it. All right. Let's see. Talk about what happened this weekend in Ultra World, I guess.
Let's do it.
Well, first off, we had the Jackpot Ultra Festival, and that was the 100-mile USATF Championships. And normally this is held in February, and they moved it to April, I think due to COVID stuff. So February in Vegas, probably pretty ideal weather. End of April, it was a hot one. So it was mid 80s. And you're on this concrete loop around a park, a little over a mile, and had that stacked field though. I think probably the best we've seen at a 100-mile road championships here in the U.S. in some time. Rajpal Panu took it out strong on the men's side. He led, I think, through 40 miles or something, and then ran into some GI issues. He was overtaken by Zach Bitter, who went on to set a new course record there, 12:52, I believe it was. And, despite the heat, of course, Zach knows how to run in the heat, which is great. And on the women's side, it was a really close one. Camille jumped in last minute and went out there and ended up leading and had some issues and placed second. Is it Stephanie Filippic, I think? I'm going to butcher the last name because I don't have it in front of me, but she also set a course record there by a pretty big margin. And the top 3 women were all within maybe 15 minutes of one another. So really some strong performances out there, great strong fields. It's cool to see it at the, I just love seeing fast hundreds. It's great.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of love paid to the USATF championships for ultra distances often. So to see Zach and Jake and Raj and Pat like all towing the line, I was like, no, like the podium is not guaranteed here. Like anyone can be, could really take this whole thing. So it's great to see that. And then obviously, getting felled by a nosebleed is something I'm very familiar with. So shout out to Camille for rallying back on that and making it damn interesting at the end. So it was great to see stories coming in, and shout out to the live tracking for updating. It would have been a lot easier if it was 100 laps, but obviously made it very easy to sort of see how things were playing out in pretty much real time. So it was a sight to see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's great because it feels like many of the USATF championships, unfortunately, they just don't get as much recognition, or they don't appeal to the runners to put it on their calendar for some reason. So it ends up being this kind of, it doesn't mean as much when there's not a strong field, like to win that type of a race. So that was great to see. Another thing we saw, speaking of 100-milers, this was totally off my radar and unexpected. We had a 100-mile world record this weekend. So, and yeah, I did not prepare with his name in front of me right now. I'm like scripting the news show. But it was 2019 24-hour world champion from Lithuania. And he went to the Centurion running 100-mile track race in the UK and ran an 11:14 100-miler, and feeling good enough, I guess, to continue on, as he also set a 12-hour world record with like 105 or 106 miles.
Alexander Sorokin.
Thank you.
Yep.
Perfect. So I guess Americans, your turn.
I mean, he did take out Zach's 12-hour by almost, I think, actually over a full mile. So it's just so damn impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, and he only had to go, I think, 83 more miles in that second 12 hours to get the world record for 24 hours. Nothing to it. Oh, yeah, they're talking in the comments in here, too. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, it's that level of brace and confidence that's also ruined many a challenges for us. So maybe just be smart about the challenges you set forth for yourself. 12 hours, fine, cool. Don't just go run an extra 83 for the sake of it.
Yeah. Well, he's no stranger. He ran, I think, 173 at the World Champs last year. So clearly someone that is experienced, has gone a lot longer than 100, but I think this was his first time targeting just the 100-miler. So I don't know, it makes a lot of sense. And now we just keep inching towards that sub 11. You think it's going to happen in the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's going to be dependent on conditions, course, shoe regulations. I think those are your three. Obviously, sort of a rising tide lifts all boats. And so, Zach or others are going to want to go after this and see if they can continue to lower it. But it's going to be, we're getting to the point where it's going to start bending. You're only going to start beating it by, a matter of, a few seconds for the 100-miler, or, a few meters in terms of the distance, unless something drastically changes with track technology, shoe technology, something like that. So it's going to be harder and harder to do. I don't know how often people are going to want to put themselves out for that sort of attempt, but it will be forthcoming.
Yeah, I think my brother, who is very well versed in 100-mile, 24-hour, was trying to, I don't know if he was like calculating it out, kind of what is the theoretical limit of a 100-mile world record, and I think he came up with 10 and a half hours. So just throwing that out there for whatever that's worth. We can have a debate some other time about that, but we've got another 100-mile record attempt this weekend, and Taggart Van Etten, he's going to be live streaming his attempt at a local pub in Illinois near where he lives, and that'll be this Saturday. So full on taper for me. I think I'll just be kicking back, probably like doing some editing with that on my TV screen for sure. Gonna be tuning in, seeing how he does. If you guys don't know Taggart, he won the Tunnel Hill 100 last year in 12:19. It was his ultra marathon debut. He's a former triathlete, and he's been training ridiculously hard for this treadmill attempt. We're talking 200 plus, 250 plus mile weeks. A lot of treadmill running he's done. I think he was doing basically 50 miles or more as a long run on Saturday, and then another 40 on Sunday. He did as long as a 75-mile training run on a treadmill for this thing. It's just unbelievable. I've never heard of training like this. He seems to be feeling good. His first taper week, did you catch that? 138 miles last week. Taper.
I mean, that's still a 50% drop off. So, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I guess from your baseline, if that's your new level,
yeah.
It's impressive. So we'll see what happens with that. I think there's definitely some naysayers on Twitter already. We'll see what happens.
Of course, it's the internet.
It'll be exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch it on Twitch. His username is Taggart Runs. So TAGGART Runs. Track that down starting at, I believe, 7 a.m. Central Time. So 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. I don't even know what time that is in Sydney, Australia. So, yeah, give it a look. He's going to be there for 12 hours. So, all day.
I mean, he obviously wants to break the treadmill world record, which I believe is 12:09. Zach Bitter. He wants to break 12 hours as well. So, see what happens.
It's going to be a good time. Really looking forward to the WWE Inspire celebration. If I'm going to will it into existence. So. I'll text him.
Perfect. Canyons. That also happened. I think, is that the last one to cover? I mean, there's so much. We had Zane Grey also on a modified course. I saw Charlie Ware won that one. But we could get into, let's get into it. And I'm, of course, just going to share Treeline Journal stuff because it's just so great. So
Friends of the pod.
This was a hilarious photo. We've got your Solomon men's podium here with, looks like Anthony's child, just totally chilling, just right off the arm there. I thought that was great. So yeah, we had two of these guys, their first 100K, Anthony and Noah. Max King, of course, super well known, has not been to Western States in a number of years. And I think the other time he went, he got second place. So he's back. There was rumors Max King got lost out there.
I never actually did find out if those were substantiated, but it sounded like him and Anthony.
I think it was someone else. I think it might have been maybe Cole Watson.
Yes, because then Noah had passed while they were out there. That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, so
and then Max had to claw his way back. So
correct.
There might have been something like that. But you can see here the top 10 male finishers, all under 10 hours within like a 50-minute window or so. This was a new course. I think we talked about this before probably, but it started down in Auburn, finished up at China Wall. It's like a OHV area, little staging area. I was able to get up there after my half marathon. I think I arrived as like the second half of the top 10 of the women were finishing up. So it was cool. It was great to see so many friends up there, chit-chatting a little bit. I actually got to talk to Corey Woltering quite a bit, and he was just pumped about Cocodona. And he says he feels great after Pinhoti, which was awesome to hear.
Good.
Don't know how, but great, wonderful. He's ready. He's itching to go run 255 more miles, so let's go do it. It's going to be pretty exciting stuff. Women's side was more interesting because it had a lot of international entrants, especially that did well. So Beth Pascal, who got 4th at Western last year, 10:01, way out front. Audrey Tanguy, God, I'm terrible at these pronunciations, but she won the Carbon X2. She's from France, 10 hours, 35 minutes. And then Emily Hoggett from Zimbabwe, but lives in the US, 10:37. And then Abby Hall was your first American, second place in 10:34. And because 2 of them already have the tickets, Abby and Emily earned the golden tickets for Western States. And Emily's story is pretty cool. She attempted Bandera and Black Canyon. She got 3rd and 7th there, so was like just a little bit outside of getting one of those tickets. Came back 4th place here and was able to nab one of them. So I just love seeing stories like that. It's great.
Yeah, no, I mean, we talked about it last week. You had to be hyped for. I was going through. I think it was Tony's at Tony with the Stony on Instagram. He had a photo display of her finishing, and you just see like the raw passion and joy as she came across the line, realizing that she finally checked the box, only to have to do it all again over 100 full miles in two months. Yes, yep. Literally 2 months from today. So
yeah, congratulations. You get to now go run 100 miles. What a sport.
See, you know that hill that you hated going up this way? You actually have to run down it next time, though. So that's cool. But yeah, hopefully she got a chance to take advantage of being in the area and seeing a bit of the sights, get a little bit of that Western States recon in so that, add 20-something degrees and 200 of your closest friends and just run it backwards.
Yep, absolutely. There was a lot of positive feedback from people at the finish line who ran that they would love to see them keep this course. So we'll see what happens there. So that's Canyons. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to talk about with that one. Another last golden ticket, of course, for this year. Lean into Western States. Oh, I will mention, I know I was being a little, whatever, we were talking about the start of the race with the mass start. I will say that the finish line, there was a comment in here, but I also saw it, like Corinne Malcolm was there volunteering, and she was at the finish and was basically keeping like the COVID protocols, telling people to mask up and whatnot, so. Anyways, probably a little bit more of that at the finish, whatever. There you go.
I had a conversation with her, must have been a couple of weeks ago now, and she was saying that was her volunteer job, and she was so excited because it's basically you just get to bully people and yell at them on a loudspeaker, and I was like, that's if you're going to be a dick about something, it's a positive way to go about it and get out your system. So yeah, I'm happy she took full advantage of the opportunity that she was given.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and I wasn't even sure if they were going to allow people to visit the finish line. But basically, I think we just had to stay like on the one side of the finish line, like prior to the finish, basically, before they crossed it. And it was all good. So cool. That's Canyons. There you go. Boom, boom.
Yes. We have many questions that have flooded our respective inboxes around now that we have a basically full Western States field. What's the preview look like? What's the goals? What should we be on the lookout for? we got 2 months. We'll get there. All right, let's let a couple things sort. But do know that now that we have the full assortment of runners, these storylines are going to get very interesting, and we have a lot more people we now need to stock on Strava. So stay tuned for a future episode where we probably, let's be real, it's probably going to be more than one, where we jump into it and figure out what does Western States 2021 look like, and who's going to be in your top 10 on both sides.
Absolutely. We got bigger fish to fry before then, though.
I don't know if they're bigger, but we just have a lot of them to fry. Basically opening up our own seafood restaurant. That was a horrible analogy.
Oh, yeah.
Just roll through it. So let's talk the weekend ahead. And then obviously we'll jump into the chat and pull down folks' questions. So start thinking about what you want to chat about. Weekend ahead, gonna be nuts. So we already touched on Taggart's 100-mile treadmill attempt. We have the Kansas City qualifier on the track from the Trials of Miles guys. Shout out, friends of the pod. Going to be live streamed on the Sidious Mag YouTube page. So if you're hanging out and Tiger gets done with his 100-mile treadmill, you can just go ahead and flip over to a different app, open up YouTube, check out Sidious Mag YouTube site. They're going to have basically 5,000s, 1,500s, and steeples going off on Saturday night. Same thing as we talked about for the Texas qualifier. You got some folks who are chasing the Olympic trials qualifying standard. Then you have some other heats that are chasing specifically the Olympic standard. So if you get one of the top 3 places, you actually have a ticket into the Olympics. Don't hit that time standard. The math will get crazy. Again, that's another podcast I'll inform you guys on. And then, so we have those 2 things in the run flat world-ish, I guess. Treadmill. He's not putting Vert on that treadmill, so I'm claiming Taggart for this one.
It's a combo. It's ultra run flat. It's perfect.
Yeah. And then we have, Cocodona? We got a preview. So
yeah, well, I mean, if we're talking, that starts Monday morning. So there are a few big ultra races this weekend. This is coming to us, and it's a little bit cut off. I apologize for that. Iron Far needs to add some margins to their website, apparently. They have said next weekend we've got 3 races. Strolling Jim 40 mile. This is interesting. This is, I believe, a race in Tennessee. This has been a really interesting storyline to follow. So Andy Jones, 3:59 course record. It's a record that's stood since 1991, and this is a course record that they're adding $1,000 of prize money to each and every year the race is held, and the record's not broken. Not since 91, but I think it might be up to $6,000 or $7,000 now. And so Zach Bevan, who won Tunnel Hill 50 mile last November in 5:03, is coming back, and he won Strolling Jim in 2019 in 4:07. So 8 minutes off the record. You better believe he's targeting that time and he's going to go for it. So I guess the same day that Taggart is running his 100 miles on the treadmill, also keep an eye on Strolling Jim 40 mile this weekend. Speaking of other run, I mean, that's a run flat as well. Like 40 miles in that time, that's a flat race. Yeah. Also, you have the Alexander County 24-hour. My brother is running that. Show Gray, Bob Hearn, I guess, are the top entrants. This is the final chance to qualify for the 24-hour World Championship team for the U.S. That's the whole reason my brother is towing the line out there. He's defending his spot. He's already on the team. But here's the entrance list, I guess. Jacob Moss, who I think he might have the top seed. He is running. Whitney Richmond, she's a pretty top runner. So it'll be interesting to see how this one shakes out. I don't know what kind of live tracking they'll have. Bronze label here, okay. So we'll see. That one will be one to keep an eye on. And then, of course, the Ultra Race of Champions. Where is it? Ultra Race of Champions. You rock. 100K. Virginia. Eliza LaPierre, Alyssa St. Laurent. I butchered that probably. Mark Hammond, Stefano Ruzzo. I don't know. There it is. Keep an eye on it. Cocodona?
Listen. Okay, let's think about what somebody's weekend could realistically be. It could be chill Friday. Just kick your feet up, get your Normatec boots on, taper. Saturday morning, start live streaming the Twitch, Taggart's 100 Mile. You have Instagram, or you have Twitter out because you need updates from 2 different trail races. Plus, you have the live tracking for the 24-hour on a different screen. Because I don't think you can do Twitch. You may not be able to do Twitch on computer.
Can we just create one of these YouTube channels that's streaming like 3 or 4 different races, and like we're getting all the views, we're like kind of just piggybacking off what they got going on?
Well, that's the thing. And then Saturday night, you have racing on the track. So basically all those are done. You're like, all right, cool. Now I just want to see some people run short and fast and also kind of hop some stuff. Sunday, you actually go on your long run, super inspired. And then Monday morning, you throw up the live feed for Cocodona, and you have that getting you through your entire next work week. Like this is a wild time to be a fan of any sort of running.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a low productivity week, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah. I will just say for the Kansas City qualifier and the Trial of Miles guys, I want to shout out this nugget that I apparently just found out before we get into Cocodona. Apparently, if somebody sets a new, or they hit the OTQ, the Olympic Trials qualifier, for the first time at this meet, they will pay for their travel to Eugene to race at the trials. So it's just like a cool incentive, just be like, not only just like supporting or giving folks the opportunity to run fast, but then actually like helping them continue to achieve their dream by helping a bunch of folks who are probably not making money in the track world, or they have, they have another professional job, helping them get to toe the line in Eugene in June. It was just cool. I was like going through and trying to figure out who was racing what, and there's a whole list of folks that are insane that are running. But I just want to shout out those guys for doing the good work and helping people achieve their dreams. So I got to give a tip of the cap. So
that's awesome. Cool. Should we get into Cocodona now?
Let's do it.
All right. First, another shout out, Treeline Journal. Just we're plugging them every day, it seems like. Put together, honestly, like a really, really nice preview here. Totally flattered some of the things they said in here just about this inaugural event coming up, and pretty exciting to see. I'm nervous that it's here, but it's very, very exciting. So go ahead and check that out. It's pretty cool. They've got just a great overview and then showing some of the stats of the race, which I will say as a caveat, the elevation is estimated until someone runs the whole course. We'll have a lot of things are estimated in the first year of a race. I'll just say that. Like, we don't know what time anyone's going to run on this course. It's a complete question mark. We have estimates, so we got to roll with it and see how this thing plays out. It is untested as far as putting this whole thing together. So you're going to witness some sort of history taking place here. We will have live tracking, so I'm going to click the link on here. It's just cocodona.com/live. And here you go. You can see the map of the course right there. And this will have all of the satellite trackers from all the runners. They will be wearing it from the start all the way through. You can see where the different aid stations are located and kind of the layout of the course here as we cross all these awesome mountain ranges and towns along the way. So feel free to bookmark cocodona.com/live. I hope so many of you tune in that our site crashes. Just kidding. Okay. If you haven't checked out the Origins episodes that we've been putting out on Run Steep Get High YouTube channel, be sure to check those out. It gives you a great overview of what the series is all about. The 5th and final episode will drop, I believe, tomorrow morning. So it's a 5-part series. And then you can also check out on the Air Viper Running channel, if you want to watch the 1 hour and 5 minute long race briefing, feel free to do so. You can get a better understanding of what it might be like to be towing the line at something like this if you're not doing so this year already. And let's see here. Men's and women's field preview. I thought this was actually pretty cool. So made a note here. I'm combining male and female entrants because at 250 miles, in my opinion, gender provides very little discernible advantage. I thought that was pretty sweet. And it's very, very true. So this is not a men's preview and a women's preview. This is just a preview of the field. And it is a strong field. It's amazing. Very, very fortunate to have all these amazing athletes joining us for the first year. First on the list here, Maggie Gutierrez. Shouldn't need an introduction at this point. She won Big's Backyard a couple years back, 250 miles right on the dot to take the win overall there. And yeah, she's also a great 24-hour runner. She's been targeting Barkley as of late, and we'll see what happens. She's excited to give this thing a shot. Corey Woltering, of course, just finished the Pinhoti FKT and is joining us for Cocodona. I was not even sure he would make it. He was like, he entered right before he started that, and I had to like do a double take because I knew he was signed up, and I kind of wrote it off like, yeah, he probably won't show up, I guess, and says he's feeling great. He's going to come on out. Super pumped about that. So the Pinhoti, he just finished that 349 miles, just for perspective, in 5 days, 7 hours. And he was telling me this weekend he only slept a few hours total in that 5 days. So think that he is going to be someone to watch out for.
Absolutely.
I'm on here.
And, I mean, he has love for the Arizona Trail. Like before he even did Pinhoti, he was originally targeting taking down the Arizona Trail FKT first. So there might also just be a special place in his heart for coming out here and running this sort of scenery and terrain. So another reason to not sleep on him for this one.
Totally. I mean, he was living in Flagstaff for a while training for Black Canyon. He's run Black Canyon a couple different times. So yeah, you're absolutely right. He's been coming out running more and more of our events. So yeah, he knows what he's getting into out here. That's for sure. There are a number of women who have had great success at the other 200 milers here in the U.S. Jessie Morton Langhaug is one of them, and she won the Moab 240 in 2020. So watch out for her. Michael McKnight, of course, he won the Triple Crown of 200s. That's Bigfoot, Tahoe, and Moab in 2019. So the last time that all three were held in a single year. He also set the Colorado Trail FKT this last year, 500 miles in 7 days. So just got to go half that. No problem at all. That's the really interesting thing about this too. You know, I was talking with Jeff Garmeyer, who is running the race, and he is a former FKT holder on the Arizona Trail. Fun fact, we have 3 of them in the race this year. Whit Weisbrom, Michael Versteeg, and Jeff. And this distance is interesting because it maybe is an equalizer between the through hiking fast pack community that is going after these 300 to 800 or sometimes even the whole PCT style of running 50 to 70 miles a day on these trails, sometimes unsupported, sometimes supported, racing all of the best ultra runners that we've got that are really experienced at 100-mile races and maybe are starting to step up into the 200 milers. But what's going to happen that extra 50 miles over that 2.5 to 3 days? We just don't know. And how is a guy like Jeff Garmeyer going to stack up? I mean, to him, a 250-mile distance in 60 hours or so, I don't know, is, oh, wow, that seems relatively short compared to, you know, my 5 to 8 day efforts that I'm used to doing, where I'm not sleeping and I'm pushing myself really, really hard. As long as you keep moving at a consistent pace, I mean, that's really what this game is all about. It'd be interesting to see that compared to someone coming from a 100-mile distance. 250 miles seems really, really far, and a 100-miler might be done in 16 hours, 18 hours for even a mountain 100, you know? And now you're having to triple the amount of time that you're out on course. So it's really interesting. When they were doing this preview, Treeline Journal, I saw they tweeted about Jeff Garmire because he had like one result on Ultra Sign Up and it was a 50K. And it's like, yeah, you kind of need some more sources. I tweeted back at him, like, check out his profile on fastest known time. And you just look at it and it's like, boom, he's got like 18 FKTs, like long trail, Arizona trail, like so many different things. And just did the Colorado trail and got the unsupported. So you would kind of need like a merging of these results and these different disciplines for an event like this. So I think that's going to be a really interesting part of this and see how it plays out. Micah Fuse, she has already run 6 200-milers and podiumed at quite a few of them. We've got Michael Versteeg, I mentioned earlier. He is probably the most local runner in this field, living in Prescott and training up and down the course already. Taylor Spike, I raced against him at Tahoe 200. I think he came in just ahead of me. He was third. I think a couple places ahead of me, actually. He was second at the Tahoe 200 in 2018 and third in 2019.
All right, so I can't let you get kicked down late in the race. Got it. Cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty much like me and Taylor. Taylor's got like a target on his back for sure. It's going to be a race, most definitely. Ellie Spacek, Mogian Monster first place. We've got a lot of experience, it looks like, on many different 100-milers. Run Rabbit Run, Black Hills, UTMB. So this will be new for her. She's one of these ones that's stepping up to the 200-plus mile distance for the first time. So it'll be fun to watch. Let's see. There's just so many names. It just keeps going and going. Whit Weisbrom, he was actually 5th at Moab in 2020. So he's got experience not only on FKTs. He was actually out just pacing and crewing for Joe McConaughey on the AZT. I know he's been checking out the course, so be really interesting to see how he can do. And what else do we got? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, you can't sleep on Sean. Just for if you want to talk about somebody who's experienced and knows what he can put his body through, like, isn't he on day like 3,600 or something of a run streak, and obviously has done a ton of 200s himself. So definitely he knows what's up. So don't sleep on him. I don't know how hard he's going for this or what his goals are, but definitely one to watch for. I'm trying to think just off the top of my head if there was anybody else that's. Or do we think Culpepper's racing?
I think he said he's not, unfortunately, which really bums me out. But I don't think he's going to be making it this time. Drew Freeze, he's been tearing it up at lots of different shorter distance. This is going to be his, I think, first 200-plus miler, but he's a local to Flagstaff. Let's see. Peter Mortimer. We've got Andy Pearson. Brianna Grigsby is another Aeroviper Racing Team member. Look at this. We've got the winner of the 2018 Triple Crown of 200s, Todd Bachman, towing the line. Let's see. We've got some youth here. Stefan Fiandero, 20 years old.
Oof.
So, yeah, that'll be fun. What else do we got? We got Dave Krupski, 5th at Badwater. Shout out to Van Patterson. He's one of our Aeroviper regulars. He's getting out there. I think maybe his first 200 plus miler. Ben Light, he's done like 13 200s. Keep an eye out for him as well. Here's another interesting one. Andrew Glaze. He's another one of these, like, loves to train crazy mileage. So he's got some insane streak of 100-mile weeks. And for a while there, he was running 200-mile training weeks for like 10 or 12 weeks in a row. But yeah, he won Coldwater back in 2017, and interesting to see what he does out here. It's cool to see him toeing the line and putting some of that training to good work.
I will say before we get to the lifetime achievement, folks. Sarah O. It's like run Black Canyon like 3 years in a row. It'll be interesting to see what she does on this course, because if you want to talk about knowing the worst footing and terrain that Arizona has to offer, she's run that course enough times. So it'll be. She'll be one to watch, if for no other reason, just to root for, because I don't know how hard she's going for this, or she's just like going out there to enjoy the experience because she obviously loves this area of the state so much. But totally. if she's gunning for it, like don't be surprised if you see her name popping up in your top 8, top 10 overall.
Totally. Dax Hawk, second at Triple Crown of 200s, behind Michael McKnight. It's awesome, man. So many. This was kind of cool. This is another thing I wasn't really expecting in a preview article, but this lifetime achievement starters I thought was really, really sweet. Basically, some of these every single one of these legendary runners in their own right, probably not going to be ending up on the podium this year, but some of what they've accomplished and what they're bringing to this start line is just simply amazing. So let's just run through all of these because I think they're all amazing. Carla Kent, 9-time Badwater 135 finisher, 5th at 6 Days in the Dome in 2019. Pam Reed, over 100-mile finishes. Danny Westergaard is a legend at the Badwater Ultramarathon, 13 finishes. And of course, like Pam and Danny, like they just did a 100-miler within the last couple weeks. You know, they just click these things off. Gene Dykes, I think, is our oldest entrant, so 73 years, young. Completed the Triple Crown of 200s at age 69. So that's amazing. Stan Fortuna, also 73. So we're going to have an age group battle here. And Todd Scott, 10-time Leadville 100 finisher. Roger Pineapple, 10th at the Triple Crown of 200s, 61 years old. And also doing the Triple Crown of 200s this year. There apparently needs to be a name for that. Okay. Kirk Apt, 24-time Hard Rock finisher. Really cool to see him coming out here for this one. And yeah, that's kind of it right there. Any questions?
Oh, I'm sure we have many in the chat. And if you're watching live, then obviously feel free to throw those in. There's just so many people to follow over the course of that entire race. You know, I really hope that folks hop onto the live tracking feature. Obviously, we're going to have the live stream as well, which we can talk about for a little bit. But even just the live tracker, so that like if you are sitting in an office and your boss is over your shoulder, the noise doesn't get them. But there's so many names there, just to like keep tabs on and see how people are moving through the course, and it's gonna be so beautiful. I'm sure we're gonna get so many great photos from racers and crew and pacers, and there's gonna be a lot to take in and enjoy over the course of this 5+ day adventure. So I'm really excited for the small part that I will have in your specific journey, but really excited for people to enjoy from their own homes without busting their bodies over 255 point whatever miles, assuming you stay on course the entire time. So it's also just wild to me, and tell me your opinion on this. I can't think of many races of this distance that have such a elevation, like median elevation change throughout the event. So you're starting at basically the lowest point of the course, but then by the time you get to Sedona, you're not dropping below 5,000 feet again. And then, 55 miles later or whatever, you're just like cruising above 7,000 and you never get below that again. So do you think that the change in altitude, the change in temperature, the change in the tree coverage that happens, the fact that the high point of the course is literally 15 miles from the finish or whatever it is, because you have to go up and over Eldon because you're rude like that. What do you think that's going to factor in? How do you think that net elevation change will end up factoring in, especially for folks who are, I guess, how would it factor in for folks who are racing and trying to go for the win, and then sort of the folks that we anticipate will finish on your Friday and early Saturday? How should they be thinking through that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat it. I think this is going to be a really tough event to finish, and for a lot of different reasons. It's a very diverse course in terms of different temperatures and elevations, and like you said, even tree cover and footing of certain parts of the course. So, and there's not a lot of beta out there for people other than we've teased out some different things. We've tried to be really forthcoming with kind of some of our experience, hey, that first 50K, that's going to be one of the biggest cruxes of the whole race, with maybe Eldon towards the end being the other. But different things are going to be challenging for different reasons. I think Cottonwood Sedona, due to the heat, is going to be challenging on Tuesday, Wednesday, if it's in the upper 80s. It's going to be a time that you're going to need to take care of yourself out there. So I think a lot of unique challenges going into this thing. And, but yeah, I mean, you're constantly you're in the desert, then you're up in the pines, and then you're down in the grasslands, and then you're back up in the pines, and then you're down crossing the Verde River. And it's kind of this big open high desert landscape. There's grass and there's no shade. And then you're back up in the trees again near Flagstaff, and it's could be really cold at night again, and going over Eldon, probably still gonna be some snow up there. So really, we'll see how it all plays out.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun for all involved. So looking forward to sharing the stories and telling the stories of the runners out there, maybe even in some variety for the pod next week, but also the live stream will be on for your viewing pleasure. How can folks who want to follow the live stream and get some video from on course, where can they check all that out during the race next week?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned before, just in terms of the tracking, cocodona.com/live, we're going to have this, it's even at the top of the website up there, and we'll have it linked to the homepage as well. This is provided through track leaders, so you can view it right on here. They're going to have, you can see there's, looks like the leaderboard might be reset right now, or, oh, here we go. Here's all the runners. So you can kind of see, it should have everyone's picture at some point. And this will bring you out to their page. If you want to check out the live stream itself, we are planning to have a link on this page on race day, but it will be at Aravaipa Running YouTube channel is where we're going to be live streaming. It's the same place that we had the Black Canyon live stream. It's also going to be going live on our Twitter and on our Facebook pages. So we'll have it on the Cocodona and the Aravaipa Running Facebook pages as well. You can check it out. As far as when to tune in, we are trying to provide coverage during the daylight hours of the first 3 days of the race is our primary goal, to have commentators at least on screen talking about what's going on, looking at the course flow. We're going to have athlete interviews pre-recorded. We're going to have Google Map flyovers. What else are we doing? We're going to play some of the training episodes and Origins episodes, I think, as well, if we have a little bit of downtime between the live camera feeds. But as much as possible, we're trying to bring as much live coverage on course as we can. So you have to stay tuned to see how it all shakes out. I will be running, so I will not be tuning in, most likely. Actually, well, I will be tuning in when I have good phone service to check in and hopefully update you guys on how my race is going in real time.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. So stay up to date on Cocodona, either on the Cocodona website, Air Viper Running YouTube channel, which is different than the current one that you're looking at. So make sure you hit the subscribe button here and get the bell so you know when we go live here, and then go over to Air Viper Running and hit that subscribe and bell so you get the notification when the final Cocodona Origins video drops this week, and then ultimately when the live stream pops up early next week to get you through the first week of May. It's wild that we're already here, but hey, third of the year down almost. Get excited. Yo, we gotta hop in the chat. We have questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, needs, emotions from the people. What's happening over there?
Oh yeah, for sure. We've just been ignoring it, so we got to jump in here. Well, Mitchell McLaughlin says he's crewing and pacing a friend out there for a day or two, so pretty stoked about that. We'll be on lookout for you.
Yeah,
Thomas Bowling, how much of Cocodona is off trail, like walking through fields, etc.? Basically none of it. I would say it may not entirely be true, but we're mostly on actual trails, actual dirt roads, for the most part, because that's what we are allowed to get a permit for. So if it's not, it might even be a really great trail, but if it's not sometimes a Forest Service approved trail, they won't let us use it, unfortunately. So there might be a few private parcels that have faint trails or faint tracks that we might be following. I'll let you know post-race exactly what it was like. Let's see here. James Austin, I work in the square in Prescott and can't wait to see folks coming through Cocodona. That's what I'm talking about. That's amazing. Sweet. Make sure you tell the bars to stay open until 2 a.m. Monday night, please. That would be great.
Monday night?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first day of the race.
I know. You're really trying to get crews just after it, huh?
Well, I got to get my shot of whiskey on Whiskey Row, but I want to give myself as much time as possible. You still with us, sir? Oh no. Oh no, we might have lost him. Hopefully he comes back. All right, well, we'll see if he comes back. Let's get into some more here. Let's see. Hey, Jamil, this is from Norb Lyle. I have a song I made for your Cocodona 250 race called Do the Cocodona. I also have a Word doc with all the lyrics. I think runners could possibly listen on in. Sweet. We'll have to check that out and share that when we find it. Let's see. How will the recent CDC guidelines regarding wearing masks outside affect ultras like Cocodona? Sir, are you back? I can't hear you now. Oh, can you talk? I got you now, yeah. Yeah, I'm working on it. Trying. Why is it not working? Huh. Uh-oh. I might have to add a new scene real quick. Apologize for this, folks. Oh, there we go. We almost made it, too. We almost made it.
All right.
I see you, but I don't...
Can you still not hear me?
I think we can hear you.
Okay. Cool. I feel like that was probably a question broadly for you, but if you need me to hop in, I'll take that.
What was the question?
The
the CDC
new
guidelines?
CDC guidelines that came out today.
Yeah, I mean, you start high level, and then I can address it locally.
Sure. Basically, the guidance in its most simplified form is outdoors and fully vaccinated. If you are not in a large group, like a festival, concert, anything like that, then you can pretty much go maskless. The risk that you pose to others is very low. The risk to yourself is very low. So that's the dream. Obviously, as it pertains to a race, it's going to be very dependent on the makeup of people in that race, how many people are around you. This is true for all events, not just race specific. But if you're outside and you're in the middle and you're the one fully vaccinated person and everybody else around you is not vaccinated, everybody should be wearing a mask in that situation. So it's just you gotta play it smart to ensure that the entire community writ large is mitigating their appropriate risk. But as it pertains to a race like Cocodona, I will turn it over to the race director, and he can let you know his thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we started permitting this race. Well, we started like a year and a half ago, but really started with our COVID protocols at least, man, I don't know, 9 months ago, and we had COVID specific plans that were developing 6 months ago, and we can't a race this big, permitting agencies this involved. We can't turn on a dime, unfortunately. Like the latest information isn't going to trickle down that quickly for an event coming up this next week. So pretty much everything that we submitted is what we're going to basically follow. Like one thing that did loosen and change up a little bit is we did increase our wave starts at the beginning of the race. I think it's still really conservative, and we probably could have pushed it a little bit more, but we're just being conservative, trying to respect all the different permitting agencies and towns and cities involved. And I think it will allow, us to follow, like just people attending the event to follow those guidelines when they're in these towns, like crews and pacers not near the aid stations themselves. Feel free to follow those, but like inside the aid stations, we've still got to follow all that stuff. So that's kind of an insight. New guideline comes out, it may not trickle down immediately. That's basically my answer.
Cool.
All right. I was just reading some of the comments.
I saw your face.
Whenever we start talking about masks and vaccines, we're going to get a mix of commentary, and that's perfectly fine. We're going to be good. Here's a good one. Well, let's see. Jared Messersmith, Tuesday, Wednesday, Cottonwood. Forecast says mid-80s, low 90s for a high. That's going to be important to carry a lot of water. That is for certain. There are, some big stretches without aid, so be sure. Our runners are required for certain sections to carry 3 liters of water, and I'm likely going to carry 4 liters of water from mile 11 to mile 33. It is, like I said a little bit before, I think one of the big crux of the race. Tons of climbing, loose technical trail, a lot of up and down, a lot of up, and I do not want to run out of water. I do not want to get into a hole in the first, 6 hours of the race. I want to reach the Crown King Saloon feeling good and set myself up for success for that first night. There's going to be a lot of time to make up once we get up and out of Crown King, heading towards Prescott. And even beyond Prescott, it's some fast, flat running. So flat is a relative term.
Relative term, yep.
Yes, important. Let's see. Looks like we had some people out at the Sinister night runs this last weekend. Brian Aaliyah in the chat here, first time winning an ultra distance, 54K at Sinister. It's awesome to hear.
Congrats.
Looks like Norb was trying to drop his MP3. He might have dropped the song on Facebook. So maybe I can go find that. Possibly. What else do we got here? Favorite kind of pizza, Jam Jam? You know, I always like a good pesto pizza, personally. What about you, Skylar?
I usually default to just some sort of weird meat lovers situation. Usually works out. If I'm going dairy, like I'm gonna ruin some things. Did I take you to Drake's last time you were out here in the Bay Area?
Did you take me to Drake's?
Drake's.
I don't think so.
Okay, we got to do that next time you're here.
All right.
Because they have, I mean, mostly known for their beer, Denogonizer, for instance, but their Oakland spot makes phenomenal pizza, and they have like vegan cheese and a bunch of things that you can actually get down with. So,
all right, you're talking my language.
I know.
How many participants will join? Gene Ivy says. Any idea of the average age? So it's like 176 currently on the entrance list. You can check it out. Ultra sign up. Type in Cocodona. It has the full list. Or you can also just go to that cocodona.com/live. You can see everyone listed there. You can see where they're from. Average age probably like your 40s or something. Right in the middle. Just guessing. High Mountain Pies in Leadville is the best, according to Martin Weekly.
Okay. I think a lot of people will take umbrage with that if you're just saying like worldwide, but if we ever roll through Leadville together, then we'll check it out. I already know that the next pizza I have is probably gonna be you taking me to Pizza Clay to force me issue. So.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go to Dark Sky Brewing, which is right next to the finish. It's gonna be great. Thomas Bowling, if we see a friend being covered in the live stream at Cocodona, is there a way to send a message and ask them to make a comment? Maybe a way to make a contribution to the site for a shout out. Okay, so that's a great question. It depends. The commentators in the studio will definitely be monitoring the chat room just like we are right now. So feel free to ask them questions about what's going on with the race. You can certainly try to ask a question for a runner if you see them. They may be able to pass on that question and ask it to our on-site film team, whoever's capturing that footage. And we were doing that at Black Canyon. We were doing a little bit of that, I think. At least we were talking to our people. So it is possible. You're not going to guarantee it. As far as making a donation for a shout out, again, I'm not going to tie the contribution to the shout out in case we can't execute that, but we'll probably have super chats on to help support the live stream coverage, which is definitely a huge financial commitment for us to make that happen. So, but if you also just want to support what we do here in general, there's lots of ways to do that. So you can join our Patreon, Steep Life Media, to support this show and others of our production. You can buy some merch. The Cocodona shop is open, so cocodona.com/shop, or just on the website, there's a link there. You could buy some merchandise, help support the race that way, or just sign up for one of our races. That's another great way to do it. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Jared Messersmith, was there an update regarding Jamil's crew pacing squad early in the show that I missed? We said we would cover that, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
All right.
We also just need to talk because this will be news to me too. So go.
Oh, you don't know anything?
I mean, you sent me one text like 2 weeks ago, so I imagine things have changed a little bit. But this is your news, and so I'm gonna cede the floor to you. You just tell me, as a good pacer, what role you need me to fill, so that I can get you from point A to point B in the most functional way possible.
That's fair. I was gonna pull up a map if I could, real quick, of the route. I think that would be good.
It would be helpful.
See what we can do here. All right. Okay, so we are at Cocodona.com. We got the course map. I'm going to open it up in Caltopo so we can get a full screen view here. Oh, goodness. I'm going to hide all this stuff. Oh, no. Okay, great. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so here is our course. And from the start there in Rock Springs all the way up to mile 71, Camp Wamatochik, you're not allowed to have a pacer. First off, my crew. Oh, we lost Skylar again. Oh, wait. Oh, no, you're good. What we lost, hold on. We're going to get you here. When I switched to the iPad, you didn't come across.
Oh.
Because this is important for you to be on this one. We good? We good?
Oh, I'm with you.
There we go. That's much better.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So Camp Wamatochik, that is our first pacer spot. The crews can go up to Crown King first. So my crew is going to be my dad, Peter Curry, will be crewing the entire way, which I'm very excited about. So he will have all of my stuff in the car, whatever I'm going to need for this whole thing, which will also be our pacer shuttle vehicle, which is exciting. And okay, so from Wamatochik at mile 71, through Prescott, Whiskey Row, up through Fane Ranch, up and over Mingus, through Jerome, down to Deer Pass mile 145, so a pretty big stretch. We'll have Courtney DeWalter and her husband Kevin Schmidt joining in. Did I tell you that part?
Yes, that is the part I knew.
Sweet. So I have them. I'm very excited. We've been talking up the race to them for a long time, and I'm pumped that they're going to be out here for it. So they're going to switch off and take me from 71 to 145. They're going to divvy it up however they want to. I'm not sure how they're doing it. And now we're going to zoom into the Sedona area. So from Deer Pass, you can see there at mile 145, all the way into Sedona, where you can see this kind of gray part. That's the actual town. And then all the way back out to past Huntley Tank and all the way to Black Tank there in the upper left part of your screen. That's you, buddy. That's your section.
Woot.
As long as you get there in time, I guess, which I'm pretty sure you will.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I will definitely be there by the time you get to that downtown Sedona, like that whole section for sure. But yes, Deer Pass is the goal, because otherwise I'm only running for 20 miles, and that doesn't seem super helpful for you. So
very fair. So that's like probably 30. It looks like 30.
It's
30.
36.
36 and change, probably. Yep.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's great stretch. Running through Sedona is going to be incredible. And then leaving Sedona, we get on a series of dirt roads. So single track, I think, almost exclusively in and around Sedona, and then we'll get some nice, easy, hopefully easier miles on the dirt roads out there. Or it might just turn into a death march. I don't really know. Let's see. So from Black Tank, and then you're going to dip out at some point, and I'm sure get some rest somewhere. Black Tank is where we kind of climb up on top of the plateau, and then we're in the trees going across Turkey Butte to Cinder Pit. Tessa Chesser is going to be joining me for, I think, that stretch up to Cinder Pit. And then there's another chance to swap out at Cinder Pit to Fort Tuthill. Don't know yet on that stretch. I've got a couple other options. I think either Anthony Tadajewski or Eric Sensman. You will jump back in at Fort Tuthill, is the current plan.
That's the current plan.
There to Walnut Canyon, and that's a nice cruise. And then I'll probably grab one of those other guys for the final section there, because I know you really do not want to do Eldon.
I really do not want to do Eldon.
Right.
Yeah, coming from sea level, going over 9,000 feet without the appropriate gear could be problematic. So,
and watch me suffer and go probably very, very slow. Yeah, so I'll have one of those guys. The plan is hopefully to have a pacer the whole way, just because why not? It seems like a lot more fun that way. And then you can see Eldon right there is the high point right there. That's going to be so brutal, this climb right here. You can see all those switchbacks going up. I might be able to find a better layer that kind of shows it off a little bit better.
I mean, because that section of Flagstaff sits at 71, 72 on that side, and then you go up to Eldon at 97.
It's like 9,000, like right around 9 at
Eldon,
at the top of Eldon, yeah. For some reason, this map's showing in meters, but yeah, 7 to 9. It's a 2,000-foot climb. Very, very steep, tons of switchbacks, and this section was socked in with snow right where that Sunset Trail is on that north-facing slope. It's like probably 3 or 4 feet of snow when we went up and over that last week. So, but from there down, it's pretty amazing. It is basically a downhill cruise on a dirt road, and then you hit the Arizona Trail again there, and you come right down into downtown Flag. And the finish line of this race is right in Heritage Square. It's pretty amazing. There's all kinds of restaurants, bars, hotels. We're going to be right in the heart of the city.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. Diablo Burger is literally one side of the finish line, and there's bars everywhere. So it's going to be good stuff. That's kind of the overview of the pacing and crewing plan. There's also a bar crawl plan, but you're going to have to just wait to see that, maybe in person.
Word.
Or live or something. All right.
It's good to know. Gotta train for that as well, apparently. Yeah, and I'll say this for me because you'll be in the process of racing, so I'm not gonna put this on you. But if you see me around, just floating around Sedona or Flagstaff, and I'm not actively in the process of running, like, say what's up, wave, be like, hey, I appreciate that. Good to connect with the community in ways, especially because I won't recognize you because I can only see half your face. So I want to shout it out. And if you see us after the race and after Jamil does his cha-cha slide across the finish line, super excited for this. Then
I'm going to have to look up how to do that.
Bro, you've been to a wedding in the last 15 years. You know how to do the cha-cha slide. It has instructions.
Okay.
I got you. Don't worry. It's going to be great.
Tree line Journal in the chat here. Skiz, $250 to your Venmo if you finish it in 2022. I bet others will add to the pot. Anybody?
Guys, listen, I like making money. I also like being able to walk. So we're going to need to get that pot a lot higher than 250. That's not even covering the cost of me going to this race this time. So yeah, no, we're going to need way more.
We'll be sure to be covering you for that.
No, don't trip. It's all good. This is a friendly, not work-related trip, so I got you. But no, you won't get some bar. You won't get some bar tab, don't worry.
Someone said, R.I.P. the 20-year-old not being able to get whiskey on Whiskey Row.
Oh.
Classic. Oh, man, that's great.
That's a bummer, but correct.
Eldon Lookout Trail isn't that bad, says Jared Messersmith. Yeah, try it at mile 246 or whatever. Jeez. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay. I'll say I did it at the end of in the midst of a 37-mile run the other day, and it felt really hard.
I'm so looking forward to just rolling out of my hotel room down the street, playing your song and laughing at you without having to do that in mountain. So.
Oh yeah. Gene Ivies, as far as you know, is anyone joining without a crew? Yes, quite a few runners, in fact. No crew, no pacers. They're out there, them, drop bags against the course. Volunteers, of course, too, in aid stations, but yep, quite a few. I think that's most of it.
Cool.
SD Mihan 135 is asking, what's the deal with Jerome? So this is something we should probably address it. I don't think, did we talk about it on the pod last week?
Not on the pod, but I did
see
it in the race briefing. So
Sure. If you did watch the race brief, just to put it out there in the world, just another time putting it out there. The town of Jerome is a very sensitive area for this event. It is an example of the race course. It goes through a very small community here in Arizona. It's, I think, one of the most scenic, iconic places on the course, and we feel very fortunate to be able to utilize it on the course and on the route. But it's a small town. We have to travel on dirt roads in and out of town on these quiet neighborhood streets. We're going to be passing through at all hours of the day and night. So we want to be as respectful as possible for those that live in this community that are allowing us to come through. So we ask that if you are crew, please read the crew guide, the crew manual. The only place to go in town is the aid station. So we ask you just go straight to the aid station, crew your runner, and then continue on. There's other communities where you can spend more time down in Cottonwood. There's some great places down there. So as far as filming goes as well, there are some major restrictions. So be sure to watch that race briefing for all of those. But essentially, even runners, we ask that you do not film any photos or videos on any of these residential streets in and around Jerome or any of their city-owned property. So we appreciate in advance helping us with that. It's the only way that we're allowed to be going through the town this year, and we want to be able to incorporate them in the future. So we would appreciate your assistance with that. This is, and just in general, I mean, there's a lot of permits for this event, so a lot that goes into it. So we appreciate in advance your help. That's it.
Right on.
I don't want to lecture people anymore. I'm done.
Fair enough. Then I think that we're done for this week, and the next time that you and I will be talking will be somewhere in the greater Sedona area on foot, in person with each other. And you'll just have to stay tuned to our Instagrams, respectively, this channel, the Steep Life Media podcast feed for details on what next week is going to look like for the pod. But we'll make sure we get the people what they want, get you guys something from on course or just wherever the hell that he and I are at the moment. And then make sure you're tuning in to the live tracker to stay up to date as the race continues to progress, and then the live stream so that you can harass other people in the chat that aren't Jamil or myself, and we'll handle what we got to do. So thank you all for tuning in and listening in as always. Make sure to tell a friend to find the audio version of this podcast in the Steep Life Media channel of their podcatcher of choice. Otherwise, hit that like and subscribe button on the Mountain Outpost YouTube channel on this video, and we'll be back with you guys next week. That's all I got. I've been Skizzle Fresh. He's been Jam. We'll catch you guys later.
See you guys. Have a good one.